6:30. Yes, I do. We need Joe's attention. He's doing something. There he goes. Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Genoa Township Board of Trustees meeting. It is a regular trustee meeting, and today's date is August 3rd, 2023, and the time is 6:30 p.m. Pat, can you call the roll?
Ms. Goodman.
Here.
Ms. Vaughn.
Here.
Mr. Antonetts is not here tonight.
Also present, we have our fiscal officer, Pat Myers, our deputy police chief, Rush Chabali, our police chief, Steve Gamble, director of human resources, Linda Greco, director of zoning and development, Joe Schaefer, director of roads and buildings and grounds, Bob Matthews, deputy chief, police chief, James McMillan, fire chief, Joe Ponzi, and our township administrator, Paul Wise. At this time, I'll ask Deputy Police Chief Chabali to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could stand if you're able. Thank you. We're going to start with fire.
Good evening, Board. I would respectfully request a resolution to hire Kyle Dennison as a full-time firefighter paramedic effective August 20th, 2023. Mr. Dennison has successfully completed all portions of our hiring process to include background, psychological checks, and medical examinations. Mr. Dennison currently works as a full-time firefighter paramedic for the Marion Township Fire Department and has over 3 years of full-time experience. Based on that, I request to hire him in at the C step rate under the current collective bargaining agreement, which also falls under the newest memorandum of understanding that we just recently passed with the union for lateral hires.
Okay, I'll move to hire Kyle Dennison as a full-time firefighter paramedic effective August 20th, 2023 at the C-step rate of $30.70 per hour per the collective bargaining agreement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman. Yes. Ms. Vaughn.
Yes, motion carries.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kyle Dennison,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the state of Ohio,
of the state of Ohio,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of firefighter
the duties of firefighter
in Genoa Township,
in Genoa Township,
Delaware County,
Delaware County,
state of Ohio,
state of Ohio,
during my continuance of employment.
during my continuance of employment.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you, I appreciate it, thank you.
Kyle, would you like to introduce who you brought with you this evening?
With the microphone.
If they're all here in the room?
Can you grab a microphone?
There's my, yeah, that's my dad.
Microphone.
Kyle.
Yeah, thank you. Great, thank you.
So that is my dad right there in the blue, Jay Dennison. He's holding my son, Luke. He is 15 months. Yeah. That's my wife right there in the blue. Her name's Peyton. And my stepmom, Virginia. And my daughter, Riley. She's 7. So.
And I'll turn it over to our fiscal officer, Pat Meyer.
Thank you. Just a few things for you tonight. First, I would ask for the approval of the minutes for regular trustee meeting of July 6th, 2023.
I'll move to approve the July 6, 2023 regular trustee meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Next, I'll have for your approval the June and July 31st month end. Today's August 3rd, so we got those done pretty quick. We must not have spent much money this month. We were able to get it done quicker, you know, so. But I'll have these for review, but just for everyone's information, total balance is $22,973,403. Our investments sit at $21,796,225.49, and the remainder of that is the primary account of $1,177,177.51. Everything's cleared, reconciled, there are no outstanding receipts. So I'll have that for your review and signature. We would ask for approval of some supplemental appropriations for road and bridge in the TIF fund. So as presented there, you'll see those.
Do you want me to?
Ask
Go
for a
ahead.
motion, yes,
Yep.
please.
I'll move to approve the following supplemental appropriations. The Road and Bridge Fund from account 2031-930-930-0000 for $10,000. Account 2031-720-0000, $41,000. Account 2031-760-750-0000, $7,217. Account 2031-930-930-0000, $8,315. To account 2031-330-221-0000, $66,532. From account 2902-390-190-000 for $1,000. To account 2902-390-311-0000 for $1,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Next, I do have a purchase order. We moved that money to cover some insurance costs for the Bob's Group. So there's a purchase order for medical expenses.
Okay, I'll move to approve the following purchase order for Road and Bridge Fund for medical insurance, then and now purchase order for $18,049.38, and a blanket purchase order for $38,500. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
That's all I have, unless you have a question for me.
I don't.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll open it up to public comment. So if you would like to comment, feel free to come up to the podium. And if you could state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Lisa Thurber, and I live at 6786 Regency Drive in Westerville Reserve neighborhood. And I'm here this evening to do two things, very light, you'll be very happy to know. First is to thank you for a wonderful asphalt path between the Westerville Reserve neighborhood and Center Green Park. And the second is to speak about the Genoa Township Maintenance Department and some of the lovely personnel I have met, or at least wrote, as a Genoa Township resident. The grassy path was part of a resolution years ago, September of 2007, at which time a path from our neighborhood led to nowhere. And over time, as the park developed, the path got a lot of use, great use. And I'm so glad as a Genoa Township resident that you guys had the forethought to utilize that land and have it be a part of the zoning then. And I can honestly tell you, lots of people use it from all walks and rides of life. Over the years, residents have witnessed and helped moms with strollers, children with training wheels, adults seniors on tricycles over ruts and mud, and the feelings about the paving the access were changed in our neighborhood. Westerville Reserve is mostly ranch-style residents, and as a consequence, we get a certain age type of person. And they go through medical situation involving crutches, canes, and walkers. We did have a young ALS gentleman move into our area, and he couldn't use the path. He couldn't accommodate his electric wheelchair on it because it was grassy. And that was the thing that changed people's minds. And I appreciate Genoa Township putting up with us changing our minds. It was very nice of you to do, because it was our fault in the first place. And I want to thank a few people for that. One is Joe Schaefer, who I heard might be back there. He gave me a bunch of information over a year ago, helped me obtain accurate documentation of original zoning and what we would have to do. And then I have to thank Connie, because she was on the board then, and she listened to us and was assisting us as residents how to get through this process. And then I've got to thank Bob, because he was very helpful in getting it, but I did not know that at the time. And I also want to thank you for the handicapped individuals who couldn't be here tonight. A couple of them said, oh, be sure to thank them for me. I got the dump truck from one of the girls who live right next door to the path. She said, be sure to entertain them too. Second, I'm here to recognize the Genoa Township Maintenance Department. Many times over the years, I have reported issues. I usually use the handy email I found on the website, bmatthews@genoatownship.com. And I need to compliment Chrissy Preston for informing me that I could text her anytime and to include pictures of the areas to help the crews identify and correct the noted problem. Compliments to Chrissy on directing me to someone other than the director for the problems that I had was very, very smart, direct, and efficient. Last, I had sent a problem about the windstorm July 30th, which was a Sunday night. The windstorm was on Friday. I waited till Sunday night because there was no emergency involved. And by 8 a.m. Monday morning, when I opened my blinds, there was a crew already working. Deputy Director Laura came up to speak to me just to let me know that a plan was in the fix for the issue that I brought up. She was friendly, direct, informative, and again, encouraged resident involvement. Everybody in the department has been very encouraging to keep involved, which I appreciate a lot. I don't know the names of lots of the employees that I've seen cutting grass that stop and let people pass, wave, or give directions, or the people who work in the humid 90 degrees. And they really did a wonderful job, and they make Genoa a great place to live. The department does get things done. If they can't, they direct me to who can, and they help me, and I appreciate that. And again, they always welcome the input. Thanks for allowing me to speak tonight.
Thank you.
Your maintenance department's great.
Anyone else for public comment?
Good evening, Carl Gebhardt, 6796 Regency Drive. I don't know, we'd have carpooled. But I would also like to second Lisa's comments relative to the trail and the work done by Bob, your maintenance department, and everyone, and also to our law enforcement and fire services. This is the hot weather. You guys either deal with the cold or the hot. It doesn't seem like you ever get that perfect time. So thanks for everyone for the job they do. I'm here tonight to talk about an issue that I think is indirectly, but actually directly affects the township, that hopefully the township trustees will take note of and take some action. I'd like to read a letter that I would propose the trustees send regarding House Bill 33, the Ohio operating budget that was signed by Governor DeWine on July 3rd of 2023. And this letter would be addressed to our fairly new state representative, Beth Lear. The letter starts off, the Genoa Township Board of Trustees was surprised and disappointed at your no vote on House Bill 33, Ohio's biennial operating budget signed by Governor DeWine on July 4th, 2023. The budget includes programs that will directly benefit Genoa Township and our residents, including an increase in the competitive bid threshold from $50,000 to $75,000, allowing the township to more economically complete construction projects. I believe that's true, Bob. Mm-hmm. Increase the local government fund, allows the gas tax revenue to be used to build storage for township equipment, which couldn't be done before, provides a home sewage treatment system law revision to protect homeowners, and provides $40 million for law enforcement training. Many of these programs are also supported by the Ohio Township Association. In addition, the budget included provisions that will benefit our residents, school districts, public safety, and a strong local economy, including a state income tax reduction, increases in the state portion for school funding, taking pressure off local taxpayers, provides grants for school safety and active shooter training programs, increases grants for economic development and job creation, and creates programs to assist with affordable housing, and it even eliminates sales tax on certain baby items, just to name a few. The budget is a compromise document that was ultimately passed by the Ohio House, Ohio Senate, and signed by the governor. It's unfortunate you did not support this bipartisan budget in what is your first year representing the 61st District. This budget provides many tangible and beneficial programs, returning tax dollars to the township, county, and most importantly, the taxpayers, your constituents of the 61st House District. You are invited to explain your vote on the record at any future trustee meeting. Sincerely, Genoa Township Trustees, with a copy to the Honorable House Speaker Jason Stevens, Delaware County Commissioners, and Delaware County Township Association. I just found it very interesting that in a Republican-dominated legislature, there were only 7 Republicans that voted against this bill. And one of ours, one of those no votes, was our representative in her first year. There was a time when our state representative actually got funds for the township. And that's why we have the old township hall sitting over there at McNamara as opposed to being torn down. Rick Carfani was able to secure funds for that program, as well as other programs. So I think the township trustees should take some action. Paul, I emailed this letter to you before I came here. Take some action in maybe working with Representative Lear to express a desire to have her working on behalf of the township and on the residents and her taxpayers. So with that, I bid you farewell. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Sorry, nothing prepared. Hi, Renee. I'm actually looking for, sorry,
Sorry,
Rich.
we're here- yeah, thank you.
DeGento.
And address, name and address.
7883 Milford Avenue,
Perfect.
Harvest Wind, 6 and 7. I'm actually interested in learning processes for eliminating door-to-door solicitation, township-wide. What you need from me, what the process is, how do we go about this? I think we can all agree that it's not 1972 anymore. When people ring the doorbell, you approach it with caution. There's been enough stories so everybody can appreciate where I'm coming from. But most importantly, probably the lack of appreciation for a no thank you, have a nice day, instead of goodbye, is greeted with sometimes derogatory and condescending more questions. Do you like wasting money? You know, mostly it's selling like termite control or pests or new windows. And I just don't think we have so much access to commercial available solutions on the internet. We don't need people knocking on doors. Now, I was told by the HOA it's non-enforceable, and I'm just asking, help me understand why. What would be so difficult township-wide to say we're doing away with door-to-door solicitation? And you can reply to me in an email with your findings or give me the guidance that I need to start the process.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to trustee comments. Do you have
None this evening, thank you.
I have quite a few, sorry. I want to address a couple comments that were made during public comment. Mr. Gephardt, I do have a letter coming up in the September-October newsletter, the printed letter, and I do address House Bill 33. I agree that there are some good things that happened with that bill. There are some bad things that happened. A couple things that I can speak to. I do like the increase in the bid process, the limitation. The actual increase to the local government fund, according to the OTA, although they did increase the percentage, the property taxes have been lowered, or I don't remember what it was, but the way that they calculate what townships get is actually going to be reduced. So overall, the townships will end up with less money. I can't remember the exact verbiage, sorry, but So that is actually, sounds like a great thing, but it's really not. Also, Mr. DeGinto, I did reach out to the prosecutor's office about the no solicitation, since you gave us a heads up that you were coming. We do have a no solicitation, we do have solicitation guidelines that the township passed way back, like 2007. And it was updated during COVID to address that if there's a pandemic, that we just abide by whatever the state is saying. But according to the prosecutor's office, townships, we cannot completely ban solicitation in the township. Legally, we're not allowed to do it. Genoa Township does have a resolution in place. It is on the police department's website, that you can read it. That's where I found it. And it does regulate the time, to place, and the manner. And as to when you can solicit, residents can choose to place a no solicitation sign on their property, and vendors, they must agree to respect the signage on the private property. So, but Chief, do you mind addressing how you manage this as the department?
So the vendors have to come to our department to get permits. They have to display those permits. When they get the permits, we explain the rules, the times, and all the regulations to them. And that if they disobey those stipulations, they could get cited and also could get their permit taken away. Recently, we've had complaints on a particular pest control company that's been going around not only Genoa Township, but around the region. They do not have a permit with us, so they are not allowed to be out there vending. Last week, one of our officers stopped one of them at 10 o'clock at night, wrote him a citation, warned him and his managers. And what they're doing is, this young man was from Georgia. He's a college kid. They bring in college kids from around the country to these areas and send them out vending. They don't have a permit with us. We let them know that if we see any of them out vending, they're going to get citations. And what I do, I encourage our residents, anytime they have a concern or a problem with a vendor, to give us a call on our non-emergency line, and we can address it. Again, if it's somebody that's got a permit through us, we have that leverage that we can take away the permit. If they don't have a permit, we will cite them.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to move on to trustee comments. Source Point is going to be doing a class on Wednesday, August 16th at 1:30 in the Township Hall, and the topic will be new to Medicare. Also, there is an Narcan training on September 5th at the police station at 6:30, and you can sign up for that on our website. I'd also like to give a shout out to the maintenance department with, we got kudos along with Lisa about the maintenance department taking care of some trees that went down in the storm in July. Also, we're getting a lot of compliments on the repaving or the new paving of the maintenance area where the dumpsters are. I was there on Tuesday night. It looks great, so thank you, Bob. For those residents walking the path, a section of the old police station was torn down this week. I was over there this morning, and they were waiting on a dumpster to cart away more of the remnants of the building. So they were hoping to finish that up by the end of the week. So if you go past there, that's what's happening there. And finally, I'd like to thank Molly McHale and Stephanie West from our Parks Department for planting the wildflowers in Center Green Park and in Pocket Park, which is where our Gateway feature is. They look really good this year. And it's the first time in many years that we've had success with wildflowers in our park. So I want to thank them for their time and talent. And that's all I have. So we'll move on to, yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I forgot to do it during the report.
Go ahead.
There's been a lot of questions about property valuations coming up and so
Yep.
forth. People are hearing that they're going to increase property values by 30 and 35%. And people were thinking that means their taxes are going to go up 30 or 35% and so forth. There is a fact versus fiction on the treasurer's website as well as the auditor's website. I encourage people to go out and look at that. It's not the case. You're not going to see that, especially in the Olentangy School District. There's an offset. So there's some things that people can get out there, and I think it'll make them feel more comfortable with what's going on. So
Yes.
just wanted to remind you.
I had gotten that link and sent it to Leslie yesterday, and she's
Okay.
going to push it, so at some point you'll see it.
Okay, just one,
Yep.
I had a note and I forgot. I
Yep,
apologize.
very good. All right, we'll turn it over to Linda with Human Resources.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Board. I have a couple of new hires that we've put into place that I'd like to get approval for. The first one is for the new administration office assistant. We have hired Dina Brown, and she started working on July 18th of this year at $19 an hour, and is, just so you know, she's doing a great job. So I'd like approval for her hiring.
Okay, I'll move to hire Dina Brown to the position of Administrative Office Assistant effective July 18th, 2023 at $19 per hour with a one-year probationary period. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you. And then also, we hired a Buildings and Ground Technician 1 for the Maintenance Department. We hired Connor Schroyer, and he does have his Class B CDL. So we hired him in at $21.50 an hour, effective July 19th.
Okay, I'll move to hire Connor Schroyer, is that correct?
Yes.
Sorry, Connor, as a Buildings and Ground Technician 1 at the hourly rate of $21.50, effective July 19th, 2023, with a one-year probationary period. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you. I'd also like to ask to have you accept the sick leave hours transfer for Connor from the City of Delaware in the amount of 45.74 hours.
I'll move to accept 45.74 hours of sick leave for Connor Schroyer from the City of Delaware. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
And the last thing is I'd also like to ask for the acceptance of sick leave transfer for Joshua Justice. He comes from ODOT and was hired recently. He has sick leave hours in the amount of 112.2 hours.
Okay, I'll move to accept 112.2 hours of sick leave for Joshua Justice from the Ohio Department of Transportation. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Okay, great, thank you. The last thing, I'd just like to mention that we are on schedule for our Trick or Treat Village and Fire Open House that will be held Saturday, October the 8th, from noon to 3 p.m.
28th?
I'm sorry, what did I say?
8th.
I'm sorry, 28th, yes.
Very good, thank you. And next, we'll move it on over to maintenance.
The first thing is material bids. We took bids last month, and I want you to award them tonight. They're listed in the docket, and I'm going to award, in some cases, 2 different vendors. They might not be the lowest, but material-wise, I can't get material from them sometimes. So I want the option to get material when I need it. So that's why you're awarding to 2 different vendors.
Okay. I'll move to approve a resolution to enter into a contract with Mid-Ohio Paving and Scioto Materials LLC as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
As I recall, Bob, we've used this picking 2 vendors previously because of supply issues, and that's worked well for us in the past, right?
Yes, it has. I
Okay.
try to use low bid every time first. If I can't get material, I'll go to the second one.
Thank you.
Right, roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. Bob, do you have something else?
There's more bids.
Oh, you just want me to go ahead and do it?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. All right, I'll move to enter into a contract with National Lime and Stone Company Incorporated and Shelley Materials Incorporated as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. Next, do you want to talk about this one? Do you want me to?
No, just go ahead.
Go
If
ahead.
you got questions, I'll
Okay.
answer them.
I'll move to accept the trucking bid results from Mid-Ohio Paving Incorporated at a rate of $110 per hour, per price, hour effective 12 months from date of acceptance with the option of a 12-month extension with approval from both parties. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. Next, I'll move to accept the trucking bid results from McCoy Paving Incorporated at a rate of $115 per hour, price per hour effective 12 months from date of acceptance with the option of a 12-month extension with approval from both parties. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes. Motion carries. I'm sorry, I'm dealing with a fly. Won't leave me alone. Have you seen it? It's just buzzing my head. Okay, I tell you it is. Now watch, if that's what it takes to get it to leave me alone, I'm good. Next, I'll move to accept the paving bid results from McCoy Paving Incorporated at a rate of $9,500 per 8-hour day. Price per 8-hour day effective 12 months from date of acceptance with the option of a 12-month extension with approval from both parties. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Okay, the next one is approval of some blanket purchase orders. The first one is 50,000 for repair curb and gutter plates, and that we get called in. We got 70 some on the list now, and we're gonna start that now because we've got the resurfacing done.
Okay, great. I'll move to approve the following blanket purchase orders: $50,000 for repairs to curb and gutter plates, $25,000 for improvement of sites, $20,000 for Worthington Road and Hillmar Parks, and $15,000 for operating supplies. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
That's
Anything-
all I got.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Bob. Next, I'll turn it over to police.
Deputy Chief Chibali has a brief presentation about our new cruiser design.
Okay?
Good evening, Board. Thank you, Joe. So just to give you guys an idea, we've been in black and white cruiser designs for 10 to 12 years at least at this point. And what we do, if you see this, this is a black cruiser. Those white doors are what we call vinyl wrap. It's basically a piece of vinyl that they take around, stretch around the door. It wraps it and makes it that white color. It looks nice, certainly, but what happened is the vendor we used to wrap these cars resigned and no longer does the work. He charged just a very small amount to wrap these cars, and the new company, one of the only companies out there that's doing these wraps, has increased the price exponentially from the individual we were using. So we had some discussion about a redesign of cruisers, and so what we came up with, I'll get to here in a couple of slides. The other problem with a vinyl wrap on a car, when it's not paint, vinyl wrap, and ultimately officers that have duty belts on, when they get in and out of cars, they're constantly rubbing against that white vinyl, and it tends to tear and leave patches of black all through the white that you can see there, so that the cruisers start to look really shoddy. So to have a fully painted car makes it look also a lot nicer and last a lot longer. So another shot of just the front of the black and white car. That's the black and white again. And then this is our new cruiser design. So that is just basically a reflective sticker that you see there. But they are reflective, which the black and white cars were not. So that's also a nice safety feature. Back of the car, very similar. and just another side view of the vehicle. So the design was sent out to the department, just letting everyone know, hey, what do you think of this? And we had a very positive response. I think the car looks great. I don't know what anyone else's opinion is, but I think it did a really good job, and it also allowed us to save some money. So again, the new design, just lettering and stickers. The black and white wrapping cost is currently $1,200 non-reflective. So if we added reflective, which we would have liked to start doing, it would have added another $300 to $500. So new design cost in total, and no, that's not the car in the upper right corner. With the reflective included is $580. So when you end up buying, 2 to 4 cruisers, it's a pretty large savings. So that's the reason we did it. I just wanted to show you guys what they look like if you hadn't had a chance to see them. I believe both of you folks have, because you've been to obviously a lot of our public events and seen our cruisers. So, but that's it. Just wanted to let you know and give you an update and take any questions if you had any.
It took me a little bit of time to get used to it when I first saw it because it was different. I took a double take. I do believe that there's another jurisdiction somewhere near to us that has also made this change, because I saw one of their cruisers. I want to say it was Westerville, but I can't say for sure.
So, yeah, oftentimes police departments, after so many years, will just make a change, make a difference in one of the cruisers, for whatever reason it may be. And Westerville has changed recently over the last couple of years. I believe Blendon Township has just made a change as well. And it is different. And, as the residents get so used to the black and white cruisers, they're not quite sure who that is. But it takes a little time. But again, our folks are in the neighborhoods quite a lot. So eventually they get used to it and realize it is us when they see us.
And clearly it's the fiscally responsible thing to do.
Absolutely. It makes sense. I mean, the company is charging so much more for that vinyl wrap, and the vinyl wrap just falls apart so quickly. So
Perfect. I agree. Thank you for, I know it's twofold, right? The purpose is, the other one isn't functional and it's more costly. So I thank you for watching our taxpayer dollars.
absolutely.
Yep.
Any other questions?
No, I think it
Thank
looks
you.
great. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Good evening, trustees. At the last meeting, we hired Morgan Little as a full-time police officer. Prior to her effective date, she decided to take a different path and decided not to join us. So I would ask you to rescind the resolution from that date.
Okay. I'll move to rescind Resolution 23-0706000 to hire Police Officer Morgan Little. That was approved July 6, 2023 at the regular trustee meeting. Do I have a second?
Second,
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you. The only other thing I have is a recap of National Night Out, which was this past Tuesday. It was a beautiful night weather-wise. I think we had a great turnout. I want to thank all the volunteers that came out, especially those from our Citizen Academy Alumni Association, Police Academy, Citizen Academy Alumni Association. Connie was there doling out the pizzas. Renee, I appreciate you showing up and meeting with everybody and talking to everybody. I think it was a really fun night. I think the kids had a great time. I've got to say, we really have some wonderful, polite children in this township until you put a water balloon in their hands, and then something happens. They transform. And when you look at the gleam in their eye, when you have all these kids staring you down with water balloons in their hand, it's a little intimidating, I must say. But thankfully, I was able to hide behind Deputy Chief Chabali most of the time and came away relatively dry. So with that, thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Paul.
Well, trustees, I have some great news. We were notified yesterday, actually through a press release from the Governor DeWine's office, that Genoa Township has been awarded 2 great large grants. So the Genoa Township Police Department was awarded a grant for $108,000, and the Fire Department was awarded a grant for $124,000. What this is, it's a first responder recruitment, retention, and resilience program grant that was created by Governor DeWine from the ARPA funds. So when we applied, we had our grant writer, Jim Barna, along with great help from Deputy Chief Shabali and Chief Ponzi. They pitched in and wrote and helped write the grants, and we were awarded them. What it does is equates to a retention bonus of $4,000 per firefighter or police officer with the township. It's a great addition to help keep everybody working with the township. We'll know more about the details of what the state stipulations are for the retention. I know there'll be probably a multi-year commitment once they accept the 4,000, which is great for us. We like keeping all of our employees here and employed happily. But I just wanted to announce that this evening. And then going into my regular report, the township did talk with Rumpke. They're going to extend the requirement that we give notice to them and into September. The township has a questionnaire out right now to the residents asking their input. I asked Leslie how they look. Primarily, the residents want something free for recycling, and so the numbers are right now supporting that decision for the elimination of the red bins. But we'll see how the tabulations come back by the next trustee meeting. And we do have Rumpke with us this evening in case there's any other questions. Next up,
Can you pause? It's Blake, correct?
Blake Austin is here.
Yeah, can you come up and, because I was looking at the survey on, that we have out and comments that were on Facebook, and there seems to be a lot of confusion with what you're offering our residents.
Yes, ma'am.
About 65 versus 95 gallons, and what exactly are you offering our residents?
So we, Orange Township has already agreed to move forward with this. So with doing their program, we kind of ironed out specifics, and we ideally like to mirror it with your community as well. What we're doing with that community is we're going to provide every resident that currently doesn't have a cart but has the red bins, we're going to replace the red bins with a 65-gallon cart. That's just going to be the generic size that the resident gets. If they want to upgrade to 95-gallon, they will be able to, in the weeks leading up to the delivery process, they'll be able to call in and request that change. But the plan is to do a 65-gallon in place of the two 18-gallon red bins.
And if they request a 95-gallon, will they be charged?
No, it's either
It's
or.
either or for free?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, and just for our residents' clarification, if the trustees decide to approve this, no one will be able to use a red bin
Correct.
for recycling?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I could get into the specifics on how the containers get removed if you want, or if that can be something.
Did you ever figure that out? Because
Yeah,
the last
so-
time, I don't know that you had an
Yeah,
answer.
that's, what the plan is in Orange Township will be that last week of service that you can, like, when we send the mailer, we're gonna include instructions on we service Orange Township on Thursday and Friday. Your last service day, we're taking that red bin with us. So it doesn't matter if you set it up this Thursday, the next Thursday, the Thursday after that, going forward, our drivers, they will service the red bin, but they're not giving it back to you, is basically.
Oh, got it.
So we will take it with us, it will be tossed into the back of the recycling truck and treated as recycling.
And talking with Orange Township, you are implementing this program in September?
That's the goal. We don't have a date set yet. We're hoping to do it sooner rather than later.
But you're not waiting until this contract technically goes into effect to get rid of the red bins and
Correct, yeah, we'd
and
rather.
make the
we would-
changeover?
We would rather do it sooner rather than later.
Okay.
And then do we get a 65-gallon the day you take the red ones?
The deliveries will likely occur, so you guys, we service Genoa Township on Fridays. It would really depend on when we are able to get the carts. It would either be the week leading up to the service or the week following that Friday.
But you would get one prior to the next collection?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And delivery takes, we're expecting the delivery process for Orange Township to take 4 or 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
The only question I have about that, if you pick up my red ones on Friday,
Yes, sir.
and I don't get another
I
one
know.
until next week, what's all that stuff do during the week?
That's why we're gonna hopefully get them delivered the week prior instead.
Okay, that's just asking.
Yeah.
And otherwise, people just aren't gonna recycle that.
I know.
They're
Right.
throwing regular trash.
Get a lot of calls, so I would encourage you to
Yeah.
get that in to
I
us
agree.
the week prior.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Or yeah, we'll likely do it
Paul
like,
will get a lot of calls.
yes. And then when Paul gets a lot of calls, Blake gets a lot of calls, so.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thanks for being here.
Of course.
All right, next, Paul, sorry.
Next up, the township is reapplying for the Clean Ohio Green Space Grant. So part of the grant, we want to redo all the dates of the effective dates of the purchase agreements, et cetera. So I'm asking for the board to approve the resolution as presented below.
Okay, I'll move to approve resolution 23-0803 in the matter of entering into a real estate purchase agreement as presented. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. And then lastly, I have been asked by American Electric Power, Ohio Power Company. They sent us a easement and right-of-way agreement. Basically, when we moved the old Township Hall building over to the center of McNamara, we had to run power to that location. We haven't yet because the power needed is higher than what we have currently near that restroom on the west side of the park, east side of the park. So they're going to have to run some additional power to that site, so they need an easement to get underground to the location right at the, right by where the restroom is, and then run it all the way underground, all the way to the old Township Hall building. So I asked the board to pass the resolution allowing me to sign the agreement.
Okay, I'll move to approve the easement and right-of-way agreement with Ohio Power Company, AEP Ohio, for property located at 4848 South Old 3C Highway, Westerville, Ohio, and authorize Township Administrator Paul Wise to sign an agreement on behalf of the board. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes. Motion carries.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I'll move to announcements. August 8th, there's a special election. August 9th is a trustee zoning hearing. August 10th, Communications Advisory Committee. August 22nd, Board of Zoning Appeals. August 14th is Labor Day, and offices will be closed. September 5th, did I say August?
14th, September, instead of September 4th?
Yeah. September 4th? September 4th, Labor Day, offices closed. September 5th, Fire Advisory Committee. September 6th, Parks Advisory Committee, and the next regular trustee meeting will be September 7th, 2023. At this time, I'll move to adjourn to executive session at 7:18 p.m. to consider the appointment, employment, promotion, and compensation of a public employee. Do I have a second?
Yeah, second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Goodman? Yes. Ms. Vaughn?
Motion carries. We're adjourned at 7:18.
Very good.
Okay. I'll move to return from executive session to the regular trustee meeting at 7:49 PM. Do I have a second?
Second?
Roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes. Motion carries. We have 2 items to approve before we adjourn. The first one is I'll move to amend the resolution 21-0415-018 to include Exhibit A that was passed on May 7th, 2021. Do I have a second?
Second?
Roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. The next resolution, I'll move to approve a resolution to add the new employee step increases and the maintenance department promotions to be added to the employee handbook. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion, roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, I'll move to adjourn the meeting at 7:50 PM. Do I have a second?
Second?
Roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes. We're adjourned at 7:50.